tough and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
I love coffee. I love coffee so much. Actually, I like sleeping. I've discovered that sleeping is my favorite thing. Get on with it. Good morning, people of Earth. We turn off this Wi-Fi stuff. It's already off. What the hell am I getting Wi-Fi signal for? Anyway, good morning. It is Monday, your favorite day of the week. Not mine. December 11th, 2023. Kind of a weird anniversary date. I'll talk about that later on. Just a brief note. I think we're going to have a good show for you today. We have a comedian, Sarah Manson, from Sioux Falls, or at least active in the Sioux Falls area. She will be joining us in the first hour. In the second hour, I'm going to be talking about this. For the people on the audio only side, could Rudy and Donald Trump be linked to the Long Island serial killer? And more than just that. Turns out the Catholic Church, satanic cults, sex clubs, pedophilia, all of it tied together in a very strange, I don't want to call it a conspiracy theory. If it's a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy of convenience. And I'm just going to be introducing the concept today. This is a subject that is going to take many, many hours. And I'm probably going to be devoting at least an hour a week of my nighttime show to detailing that. But I will be introducing astonishing stuff will shock you to the core about the nature of how many people are involved in serial killings, not just on Long Island, but in Virginia, north of New York City, up in upstate, all over the place. All seem to be tied into what Maury Terry called the ultimate evil when he detailed the Son of Sam cult almost 40 years ago now. So that's going to be coming up in the second hour. You want to stay tuned for that. In the first hour, we have Sarah Manson. I'm not sure if that's her real name, but kind of apropos that this is a Manson Monday morning, considering what I'm going to be talking about in the second hour. Strange weekend for me. I hope you had a good weekend. If you remember on Friday, do you remember that far back all the way to Friday? I barely do. But while I was interviewing our guest that morning, Ed Smythe, who I actually spelled his name wrong, and he didn't even mention it. No E on the end of Smythe. While I was interviewing him, or just talking to him, having a conversation with him, a good friend, Jackie Martling, started texting me abusively, asking me to plug his gig at Palm Beach Kettle Club in South Florida, obviously, Palm Beach. And I waited a minute and didn't do it. And then he texted back. Guess he was listening and said, well, what are you waiting for? Like right in the middle of an interview or a conversation. Got to stop calling it an interview because that's not what it is. Anyway, so I did. And then he texted me back like he wanted me to do it again. And let me just say, if you listen to this program, you know that being called a Howard Stern wannabe is not something I necessarily enjoy. From time to time, I find myself falling into a Howard Stern wannabe trap. And so the first idea that I had when Jackie was busting my balls to plug his gig was to Baba Booey him. I asked listeners to go to his show and bark instead of laugh, bark at his jokes and yell "Mine Dog," kind of like a Baba Booey treatment to him. Well, Saturday morning, I wake up and the first thing I get is a text from Jackie from a subreddit, Howard Stern subreddit. Went to a Jackie Martling show last night at Palm Beach Kennel Club in West Palm Beach, and there were people heckling Jackie. Some of them approached the stage, and they were taken down by security. One of them turned out to be Scott, the engineer from the Howard Stern show. Now, I asked Jackie what exactly they were heckling, and his comment was, "We'll discuss." I have a feeling that people actually listen to me sometimes, and that's a really bad habit to get into, and I strongly discourage it, except for when I'm talking about things like uh, a sex cult and pedophilia and serial killings that involve a former president and his lawyer friend, which we will be talking about in the next hour. You can listen on that part, but don't take my advice on stuff. And if I go heckle my friends, I'm just kidding. I don't mean actually do it. Now, I don't have all the details, and it's possible that um, that's not what it was about. But I don't think Jackie, this is not the first time he's ever been heckled. I don't think he'd be writing to me first thing in the morning if it didn't have something to do with me. Anyway, so apparently I have a little more influence than I ever imagined I had, and not in a good way, I guess. Anyway, Saturday night's gig. Um, to say things are starting to fall into pattern, I guess would probably be putting it mildly. Saturday night arrived at our gig at a new place called Sunsets on Phoenix, new for us. And as I walked in, saw somebody I knew who I didn't expect to be sitting there. I'm not going to name the person because I just don't want to kind of get involved in the personal stuff of this. But if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, story about somebody who showed up at a gig who was formerly a son of an ex-girlfriend, who's now the daughter of an ex-girlfriend. That story. So my friend was at the gig, and as we're loading in, Mikey said, "Did you see who that was?" I said, "What? He's got a new girlfriend." He said, "No, not that. The two that just walked past us. I saw two girls just walking past us. I didn't notice them." I said, "No, I don't know who that was." He said, "Take a look when we get inside." It was two girls. One of them was formerly the oldest son of the friend that was sitting there. It was his birthday. And I'm not surprised about this. I knew kind of some of the backstory. This guy, somebody I knew he was a very masculine boy, young man. Now probably about 32, somewhere in that range. Um, as masculine features as I have, and that's saying something. I mean, you can never, or you, I find it hard pressed to imagine me transitioning. Anyway, he is now a young woman. Uh, he got a girlfriend. The girlfriend was lesbian, or bisexual, I guess, but preferred women, and wanted to turn him or convinced him that he should be a female. And now he is a female. He's got breasts and all that stuff, and obviously taking hormone therapy and all his features, but he's still got shoulders. But they sat right in front of me, and to me, when I'm trying to play something, the last thing I need is to think about things and see things that make me wonder. I just wanna lose myself in the music, and it was really hard to do. So that was my Saturday night gig. It seems like there's a pattern of young people showing up at my gigs who I knew when they were male, who are now female. And, I try to doing my best to adapt to the new world, to respect everybody and support everybody's right to do whatever it takes to make them happy. But can't say it doesn't put me in a very strange mindset. So that was my gig Saturday night, and then yesterday, um, for whatever reason, I know what reason. I got up early for church and made some weak ass coffee and just could not get it started. I spent the day napping and then waking up from a nap to take a nap and then having another nap on top of that nap. It was a nappy type of day for me. So that's my weekend. I hope yours was better. I hope yours was a little more productive than mine. And let's say hello to the gentleman. Let's say hello. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your? Oh, you almost did that in sync, so you're getting closer. Weekends, guys, have a good weekend.
I had a great weekend.
Mind dog coffee.
Oh, that.
No matter how you grind it, get your grind on with Mind Dog coffee.
Yeah, well, I ground it weak yesterday. Could not get it started. I'll be honest with you. Church went by, and I couldn't. If you asked me right now what the hell he talked about, I couldn't tell you. I was just in a fog the whole fucking
I mean,
time.
that's most people at church, really.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean last resort church. I mean churches across the world. Like, what did he say? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess you just let it wash over you and all that stuff. So later on in the show, I'm going to want to talk about this. I don't know if you guys even have a clue about what this stuff is.
No, I had no idea what you
Most
were talking
people
about,
don't.
but I'm excited to know, though. I'm excited to learn.
It's going to be a difficult one because for me, it's so detailed and so deep. I don't want to come off as an Alex Jones conspiracy theorist. This stuff is rooted in deep fact, and everything can be fact checked thoroughly. And I don't want anybody to take my word for anything that I say about it.
Right.
Look it up.
Yeah, it's been known for a long time though that like elitists are connected to this kind of stuff. Though I mean, it's not it's not crazy. Right. It's not really that crazy. I don't think.
No, it's not. Have you guys are familiar with Maury Terry or no? Have you ever heard of Maury Terry and his book, The Ultimate Evil?
No, I haven't.
Maury Terry was a journalist in New York. I think he worked for the Post. He worked for Fox News for a time back in the early 80s. He wrote a book called The Ultimate Evil, which details the Son of Sam cult, which was tied to the Manson cult, which I think was why I think it's really apropos that this morning we have Sarah Manson on. Yeah, I named it Manson Monday. Yeah, no relation, right? I'm wondering, do you know? Is it really her last name, or did she just do that?
I'm pretty sure that's her real name. Right. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I
Marilyn Manson, is that his real name, or did he just?
Not at all. It's like Brian something.
All right, yeah.
That's a common last name.
Manson?
No, something.
Oh, something.
This guy. You.
Anyway, so Maury Terry wrote this book about detailing the depth of the satanic cult that runs deep into the pornography world, Hollywood. There was a Hollywood connection with Melanie Haller from Welcome Back, Kotter being found drugged and sort of halfway raped, attempted rape, but almost in an unconscious state on the Long Island Railroad, coming back from a Southampton mansion of Roy Radin, the Cotton Club producer, where there was a snuff film oriented orgy. And the claim in the book was that most of the Son of Sam killings were done in order to produce snuff films, and
Really?
for very powerful weirdos, perverts, and whatever. And all this is related, coming up to what I'm going to be talking about today. That's how
Now,
deep and long and
now,
ugly.
now you got me like there was a American Horror Stories series, and one of them was about Fire Island and stuff like that. But it
Fire
almost
Island.
sounds right. It almost sounds like their subplot to their subplot seems to be lining up with what you're talking about, the Rudy Giuliani stuff.
Right.
It's almost like there's like a parallel, like almost like they got that hands on that data and said,
It's just a
put it in
long
here.
string. You're absolutely right. They're all connected, all a long, ugly string that ties them all together. But again, it's not a conspiracy theory where somebody originally sat down and said, let's do this. Let's plan this out. I think, I forget whose quote it was, but about organized crime, it's really pretty disorganized. And what this is, if it's a conspiracy at all, it's a conspiracy of convenience by people who need to
With
cover up
secrets.
their secrets and their dirty, shameful acts, having things in common that said, well, you cover my ass, I'll cover your ass. But it wasn't like a conspiracy where people sat down and planned things. It was more of, oh, you're into fucking little boys, I'm actually into killing people for sex orgies. Can we work together on this to cover each other's ass?
Now, there was like a 2013 movie about the Long Island serial killer.
Yeah.
Is the stuff that you're talking about, is that going to like add on to it or contradict
way
it?
past that. Way past that. They've got a suspect in custody right now. His name is Rex Uerman, and he's tied into this. He's in this little. He's the guy on the far left, if you're looking at the screen there, next to Giuliani.
The priest.
On the other side. The priest is connected to Rex.
That sounds like that song. The priest is connected to the trombone.
Trombone
connected to the.
The priest is connected to Rex. He's connected to Giuliani. He's connected to all of it. And kind of Catholic Church is a central figure in this. So, I know, Willie. I know this might trigger some things for you.
No,
but
I mean, I was going to mention. You said that isn't Sarah coming on in the second hour? I'm pretty sure she's on in the second hour.
Oh, second hour? I had it for the first hour. Okay. Well, you know what? I could get into this now then.
Yeah, because I think she wanted more time to put her face on. Because I told her it was video.
That's fine.
Oh, is she putting on the little reindeer antenna?
Sarah's coming on.
I will say about Sarah Manson, she is incredibly stylish. Probably the most stylish comic in the area for sure.
More than you? That's hard to believe.
I like that you think that I have style at all. That's nice.
Yeah.
He didn't say it was good style or bad style. He just said style.
I'm pretty sure she'll be here in the second hour.
I just checked the calendar. You're absolutely right. My bad. See, I was so excited about this show. I was thinking of it in reverse.
But
anyway,
we could just kind of keep the conversation going of what we're doing. So
yeah, we could do that. You know what? It's probably best to take a commercial break really quick. This is coming up after the commercial break. Rudy and Trump linked to the Long Island serial killer and more. We'll be right back with that after these words from our sponsor, Creative Live. Time is running out to take advantage of that 70% site-wide discount. So check it out.
It's time to unleash your creative excellence. Dreams won't work if you don't. They never happen overnight, and they rarely follow a straight line. Excellence is a result of the hustle, consistently pushing to do better. And success looks different for everyone. CreativeLive.com charts paths and tailors content for students, but they also encourage independent thinking and exploration. Go outside of your comfort zone. Who knows? You might actually like it. Right now, you can get up to 70% off through this exclusive offer for Coffee with the Dog. CreativeLive.com has site-wide sale for Coffee with the Dog listeners. Save up to 70% off. Go to minddogtv.com and click on the link on the homepage now.
This blank screen is brought to you by Jackie Martling at the Palm Beach Kettle Club.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that whole thing is just. I can't wait to talk to Jackie about it. I think
Right.
just
I
his
would think,
"we'll discuss" made me think that he's a little bit perturbed with me.
yeah, no, I feel like he's probably not all that happy, but I'm especially if they had to tackle somebody. And I'm not gonna lie, it probably like that person's connection to the Howard Stern show probably makes it worse in a way. I would
Well,
think.
I think he was fired from the Howard Stern show. Because I did some checking around. I called some Howard Stern fans. I said, "Is Scott the engineer still with the show?" No, he got booted. So
Oh,
there's that. I don't. Yeah, but all of it. Yeah, connection there.
yeah,
Whatever. So, but I don't think Jackie would have texted me first thing in the morning if it was just a normal heckling.
right,
Uh, and
right.
I think he was listening for his plugs because he was abusing me. He was just, if you see that, I can't play the text because then people will get really upset with Jackie because he's calling me names that probably are
Yeah,
not.
but he
Yeah,
can call you
or
those
yeah,
names. He's calling you those names because he can call you those names in private, and he knows you're not going to be upset.
That's
If
right.
right,
if they leaked out in public, they'd be
right.
like, "What an ass!"
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
like this morning
yeah,
when
like
I told you how much I appreciate you. I was like, yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
That was one of the names he called me.
Oh,
So that's
I bet it was. I bet it was. And
so
I was
yeah.
just, dude, and then just as soon as I saw that, I just laughed and I was like, yeah, that's him saying I love you back,
That's
which is
that's
weird.
yeah, that's a Jackie influence on me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get it.
um
I totally get it.
yeah. So I was talking to my brother about all his past jobs, and one of them that we forgot about was he used to drive for Catholic Charities, and I asked how that job came about because I was a little bit curious about it, and he told me that it was kind of recruited through AA. Into that there because they always these AA meetings always happen in churches, and
I
he
love
was looking for a job and got recruited into delivering for Catholic Charities, and he was a young single male at the time, and they put him in charge of delivering to uh, young single mothers, delivering benefits and food and stuff like that. And he said that was like putting the fox in charge of the hen house. And I said,
Yeah, no, yeah, I
Catholic
get it.
Church has especially in this area,
They
a
like to put
long,
you in tempting situations.
yeah,
see, now I thought of it as they just want those single moms to find an eligible man who's working, and that way they won't be a single mom anymore. So I thought it was like a dating service.
it kind of
I mean,
is
that's kind
that,
of what
but
they're
it's not.
doing. That is, I think, low key. That's part of what their idea is.
Except they were sending him to 4 or 5 single mothers a day at their house, and he'd spend a half hour here with this one, a half hour there with that one. It's more like a gigolo service than a
See,
dating service.
man, that would have been a
But that's
sweet
on your
gig for
brother then,
me,
because the
man.
Catholic service is totally innocent on this. They're just trying to no.
I'd have been all about that.
If your brother's
Make
diddling
the
all those
rounds.
women, that's
Make the
just
rounds.
poor self control.
That might
It is. I do
no,
have
that
poor self
that
control.
might be true, and I would say obviously he has poor self control. He's at an AA meeting.
right. He's got problems.
Adulterers Anonymous?
Yeah. So anyway, that got me thinking about the Catholic Church in this area because the Catholic Church and Catholic Charities had a long history. The Rockville Center Diocese in the 70s had a series of, over 600 young boys raped. Actually, the number is 666 by priests.
That's the what?
You could.
That's the number of victims.
That's the number of victims, the alleged victims.
The number of the beast is the number of the victims.
16 priests. 16 priests involved, and the head one, the Monsignor, is a guy named Alan Plaka. He's the priest in that picture. Alan Plaka is Rudy Giuliani's best friend since junior high school.
Really?
He married. He was the what's the word I'm looking for? He married Rudy and his first wife. He had their marriage annulled in the Catholic Church so that he could get married again. He proceeded over his father's funeral. They've been best friends. He is the he's also a lawyer, but besides being a Monsignor, and
What?
he's also a lawyer, and he's vice president of Rudy's business
So is he Jesuit?
No, he's a Catholic priest.
But could he be a
Jesuits are a sect of Catholic priests.
Yeah, and they're allowed to go out and get additional education and stuff like that. That's all.
No. He had his law degree, but he was just a priest. He wasn't a lawyer until he was defrocked in the 90s after all these allegations came out, and he wrote the manifesto of how the Catholic Church is supposed to get out of all the and how to move priests around from district to district, hide the pervert and all that kind of stuff. He wrote the documentation for the Catholic Church. He got him out of a lawsuit by declaring bankruptcy. He presided over all this stuff, and there are allegations and lawsuits about him going back to the 1970s of raping young boys when he was hanging out and obviously best friends with Rudy his whole life. And Rudy is good friends with our former president, Donald Trump, for the last 50 years. And there's a strong connection there. Alan Plaka worked on all of the cases for Trump in the most recent stuff that they never got paid for and all that stuff. Alan Plaka, in the 1970s, Rex Uerman is the guy who has been arrested for the Gilgo murders, the Gilgo serial murder case. He's been arrested for that. In the 1970s, Rex Uerman lived in the same house that he was living in at the time he got arrested. It was his parents' house. His father died. They were devout Catholics going to the parish in Massapequa Park, New York, and the priest was Alan Plaka. Alan Plaka developed a strong, close relationship with Rex Uerman, the Long Island serial killer, in the mid-1970s, and is shown up at pictures at his house and all this kind of stuff. They have a tight relationship. They know each other well. Plaka is involved with Rudy and Trump. The threads here are unbelievable how they are connected.
Right
now,
and I mean, just from what you're saying here, it would seem that guy was probably taking out people that might be able to expose them or something.
Yeah. Tip of the iceberg here. I'm just getting started. This is hours and hours of a long thing that I have to whiteboard out and kind of get all the PowerPoint out, however you do it.
You got to make like a wall, like an evidence wall, and like with the like they did it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know. I whiteboard it out completely.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, isn't Rex's wife about to do an interview or something with Peacock, or did she already do it with Peacock? They're doing a docuseries.
You're jumping way ahead, bro. Yes.
I can only jump. I don't know much about this, so I can only put in the little bits I can, what a little bit I know, and if it goes out too far, that's Willie's fault. He should have warned me.
So she originally claimed to be ignorant of all the stuff that was going on. Now her DNA has been found on, I think it's definitively three of the corpses that they uncovered at Gilgo. So
the same three that he's being charged with, or a different three from the 11 that they found?
3 of the 4 that he's been charged with.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Now there are 11 bodies in all considered to be part of that case. I'm going to tell you that probably hundreds, not just on Long Island, but in Virginia and upstate New York and anywhere that Rex liked to travel. And so it's going to be really involved in and the evidence is there that this guy has been a killing machine.
But what's the source of the DNA from her? Because since they were married, it could be like contact DNA, like her hair was on his shoulder and it fell, or is it like drool, like she was watching and she was like saliva or salivating over the body?
I like how you picture her drooling over
over
her husband murdering people.
tortured, mutilated corpses. That would be yeah. If you can get some drool up for that, you're a pretty dark
I'm just
person.
saying we don't know what her kink. We don't know what her kink is, or if she was
I mean,
involved.
that's true.
That's what I'm saying. So it may be bodily fluid from other parts where she just straddles the orifice.
We kind of do know she was involved because one of the victims that got away gave testimony to orgies involving all of the not all, several of the people already mentioned, orgies at his house where bisexual orgies, men having sex with men, women having sex with women, men torturing and killing, and this woman escaped from that. And her testimony is that the wife was intimately active in all these.
Maybe I don't want to be involved in an orgy as much as I think I do.
Not that kind.
Like it's
not all.
I'm just saying, Willie.
I'm just saying, Willie, from experience, they're not all like that.
I would say that that's probably a lot of truth in that statement.
I'm just saying they're not all like that because I'm just testifying that I've never seen one murder at any of not one. Right. Well, and I'm not just saying this because I was paid to not see anything. I'm saying I didn't see anything, and I don't know anyone who's ever gone missing.
You probably got involved in quite a few in your stripper days, I would imagine. Like that had to be pretty common.
We don't need to make him a suspect in all this stuff. So there is rapid speculation, or a lot of speculation among all the people who are looking into this case, that the Long Island serial killer murders, because of the way they were carried out in the MO, could not have been done by a single person. You had to have help. Right. A big part of it is wrapping torsos and body parts in plastic or camouflage plastic. And
so
dumping.
You're implying that because a rapper was involved, it was a black guy?
Oh my God! Hey, not all rappers are black guys. GD
could have been Vanilla Ice.
No, but the good ones are. And these rappers are really good.
Oh, the good one. Oh, okay. So Eminem just doesn't exist anymore. Is that?
Did I say rapper or rapping? Did I say?
That's what I'm saying. If it was really good rapping, that's what I'm saying. Which rapping are you saying? Was this W silent or not? I don't know.
Well, just suffice to say, he wasn't doing it alone.
Okay,
he had help.
Right.
He had help in lots.
He had a hype man.
A hype man. Right.
Don King.
And part of
only in America.
Part of the evidence, as GD kind of gave us a spoiler about, part of the things that tie back to this case. One body that December 11th, she was killed on December 11th, I believe, today's date. I believe it was in 2001. No, it was in the 96. And her legs washed up on Tobay Beach, which is right next to Gilgo, wrapped in plastic. But her skull washed up on Fire Island, which is not far away. It's just 15 miles away or so, on the property of Alan Placker, where Rudy Giuliani was staying. The skull of one of the victims and the legs, two different ocean areas, washing up on that property. The odds of that are minuscule if they are not involved in somehow. And Alan Plack is still walking free. He's still never been arrested, although he's implicated in at least 20 rapes of young boys on his own and covering up 666 rapes of young boys. So there's that connection. Now, all this stuff.
I'm gonna need Tums after this episode. I just want you to know that. Like, this
what?
Is upsetting. I said I'm gonna need Tums after this episode because you're like literally upsetting my insides right
now. No. It's so bizarre, and we're just scratching the surface here. Now, in 1996, Rex Huerman bought his mother's house from his mother. He was still living in it as an adult. He bought it then. He's lived up in it up until the time he was arrested. His mother moved to Virginia in 1996. In 1996, a few miles from his mother's house, where he went to visit his mother almost every weekend, the I-29 stalkings and murders started happening.
Wow.
The suspects in all the the sketches look exactly like Rex Heuermann.
Wow.
The MO is of a stalker who uses a ruse and uses the same kind of trucks that Rex had, because a
They
lot
need
of
to
women
give
got
this guy
away.
some truth serum and then start asking questions.
Right.
That's my
Well,
opinion.
here's the thing. Rex has been given permission by the holding cell, the holding place, jail that he's in, to have a unsupervised, unrecorded, private meeting every week, 1 hour private meeting with the Catholic priest. Rex Heuermann is still listed as the main contributor to Catholic Charities, which is where I started this whole thing, both as his corporation as the number one, and then his personal accounts contributing to Catholic Charities. The person who oversaw the Catholic Charities was Al Placa in Rockville Center. Al Placa's office was right next to Rex Heuermann's aunt. I mean, they basically shared an adjacent office. So the connection here is just like, he's
Yeah, I
known the
mean,
guy for almost 50
yeah.
years. He met him at a time when his father just died, suspiciously, by the way, which a case has never been solved. Rex Heuermann's father died suddenly, and under suspicious causes. The priest befriends the young boy, starts fucking him in the ass. I'm sorry to laugh at that, but and becomes manipulative towards him, and then ends up using him as a tool. Now, Rex also went hunting and and would gross people out with his stories of hunting and stalking prey up in New York, upstate New York,
And he's probably
and
talking about people.
right. And
Yeah,
there's a
I mean,
connection there with Al Placa's family members and Rex's brother-in-law, who both live in Schenectady. One of them living right next door to one of the victims of what they is unsolved serial murders in the Schenectady, New York case. So if you're keeping track now, you got the I-29 in Virginia, you got the Schenectady murders, you have Long Island, which they've always said the 11 bodies were just the tip of the iceberg, but they can't connect all the other suspected MOs to this one serial killer. This has been going on since the Son of Sam days with the whole Manson stuff. Now,
right.
coming back to the Long Island serial killer case, the chief of police, James Burke, was convicted of being part of a sex cult type of thing. And the guy who exposed that, he beat that guy almost to death and went to jail for beating him up. Him and the DA, Spada, also went to prison for refusing to investigate the Long Island serial killer case. So in other words, they were covering it up and were not sharing any information with the FBI at that point. They were just shutting it down, covering up the people who were involved. So you have Burke, you have Spada. Spada was a devout Catholic who had also had a personal relationship with Al Placa. Spada met James Burke when James Burke was a 13-year-old witness to a satanic ritual killing that happened in Dix Hills. Pius was the kid's last name. They had shoved rocks down his throat to kill him. A bunch of young boys as part of a satanic ritual case. James Burke was a witness. He was at it and became a witness. Spada was the lead detective who was also had this relationship with the pedophile priest, and all the pedophile priests involved in the Rockville Center diocese groomed James Burke to be a police captain and then chief of police. These guys both went to jail. You writing all this out? What do you got?
Yeah,
Or you
I'm
just
pretty
Go
sure.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
you're just drawing pictures of asses.
I'm following. I got you. I'm right there.
I don't think you're following me because I can't even follow myself. The thing is so convoluted. I have to sit down and actually try to map this whole thing out.
Yeah,
But you can see how
but it
deep.
does. It sounds like it's going to be as simple as like a numbers connect the dots. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like just add it up.
Now I gotta get
mean, come
numbers.
on.
Damn it! Now I gotta get numbers. I gotta get the other marker for numbers. This is my letters marker.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So basically, what we're looking at, and again, I don't want to sound like a fucking Alex Jones wannabe here because I'm already a Howard Stern wannabe. But we're looking at a web of satanic ritual killings where Rex Heuermann, as ogreish as this guy is, was probably just a tool for the use of other people who were pulling the strings behind him and using him in ways to dispose of potential troubled witnesses and all that kind of stuff. But he also enjoyed, without a doubt, the stalking, the torture, and murder of people. Now, I didn't even get into the Jeffrey Epstein connection and Donald Trump connection here. There are absolute connected dots between Epstein's New York parties, Donald Trump at them, pictures of them together, and in the corner, and I got to find this photo, in the corner, in the dark, who do you see sitting on a chair by himself? Alan Plaka, the pedophile priest who's the architect of a massive string or chain of pedophile priests, hide the priest, moving from parish to parish.
I just want to say something real quick here, Matt.
Go
I
ahead.
think this is important to say. Okay, I think it's good. I think it's good that you're talking about this and shedding
That you
light
have a
on it.
hobby.
But you should probably throw eyes in the back of your head after today's episode, because like you're gonna fucking really upset some people. I think.
If anybody's actually listening, yeah.
I just want to say today's my last day on this show.
Right, fucking GD's just like, fuck it, I quit. You don't gotta throw me off this fucking show. I don't want to get murdered. Like,
well, this will be the last time. I don't know if the last time. I don't plan on making this the focus of this program here.
Yeah, please.
I am going to do an expose on it on the evening show. I'm going to take some time away
that'd
from.
be cool.
Now, just so you know, Sarah Manson, since we're talking about mystery, does dinner mystery theater.
She does.
So this is all going to tie in.
So do what?
With this murder mystery, she may even know about this murder mystery. She may have played it. We can find out if she's actually been part of this murder mystery.
Well, let me tie it back to Manson if I can. Because I'm not done here.
Which Manson? Sarah or Charles or Marilyn?
Charles and the guy they called Manson too, who ran the satanic cult that David Berkowitz was a part of in Altamaya Park in Yonkers.
Make sure you guys, did y'all screen capture this? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people.
You can't even see it.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to erase and start over on the next chapter.
Oh,
if they didn't, if they didn't get to write this down, then they're going to fail the exam when there's a test.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go.
Wait, I'm reading this comment. I would imagine every coffee clutch in Long Island has similar theories. I doubt it. I doubt that.
Yeah, because people don't. A lot of people like to live in the fantasy that this shit doesn't even occur. Really, you know what I mean? Like.
Ben Hall says we're watching this. We're on the list too. No. As long as listen, they can't kill everybody, and I think they would start with me. So if I go, then you can go into hiding.
Isn't that such a comforting thing? You get like a bunch of people in the woods and go like, they can't kill everybody.
Well, yeah, exactly. But Maury Terry, it should be said, Maury Terry, who was the author of The Ultimate Evil, died of natural causes some 20 years after he wrote the book, which details all the beginning lineage of this, going back to the Process Church and Anton LaVey and Hollywood and all that stuff. And then this guy he called Manson II, who was running the Son of Sam cult in Altamaya Park in this area. But at the end of the ultimate evil. He ties it into Long Island, and first of all, the Melanie Hallinan stuff, the Welcome Back Kotter girl, who was found on the train coming back from Roy Raden's snuff film orgy party in Southampton. She was partially raped. What does that mean? They tore her clothes off. They tried to penetrate her. She ran away. She got away. Got on the train. She was in like a drunken stupor. No charges were ever pressed. Cops went there. Roy Raden ended up dead 2 months later in the desert in Arizona with his head on top of an open Bible open to the book of Revelation.
Wow. Are you fucking kidding me,
No,
bro?
no, I'm not kidding. And then
wait a minute. There's a book of Revelation in the Bible?
yeah, so what? Last one. I can see why you wouldn't get to it because it's the last one, and you were probably bored with all the other stuff by the time, so you gave up on it.
I'm still stuck on all the sex stuff in Genesis. I haven't gotten past the sex stuff in Genesis yet.
Right.
I think we need Jesus. I think we need some prayer maybe on this episode. Where's the bread? We need the bread, Brian. Holy fuck, man.
Yeah, it gets pretty deep. And now around that time, just around the time that Roy Raden his body was being discovered here, according to Maury Terry, Manson II, who was part of the original Manson cult, who was part of according to him, he working in conjunction with CIA, MK Ultra, and all that kind of stuff. And they were Manson was definitely working with the CIA with LSD experiments and all that stuff. This guy Manson II, who he doesn't name by name, goes back out to L.A. and he gets offed out there. And then they supposedly, this is where Maury Terry's work stopped, but he's talking about a string of serial killings or disappearances of young girls. They called it Hempstead murders. That it is strongly suspected. Again, we come back to sketches and stuff. They look like a young Rex Heuermann, Long Island serial killer. So the body count of Rex Heuermann could be in several hundreds. There is no doubt that he worked hand in hand or had a real strong personal relationship with the Catholic Church, Catholic Charities. He remained a top donor to Catholic Charities up until the moment he was arrested. He's still listed as one of their top guys. And so we see the Vatican.
Is literally making me sick to my stomach.
Right now, the other part of this is, and nobody would deny this, that the Catholic Church has a undeniable history of rape of young boys but they also have an undeniable history of a relationship with the Italian-run organized crime that we call the mafia in New York City. And Rudy Giuliani at that time was taking on John Gotti, but not for the reasons that he claimed. He was trying to take down the mob, and it was all about, restoring the dignity of Italian Americans. It was one mob family against another. He was against the Gotti people, he
was trying to help restructure. He was part of the restructuring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the biggest people who the Gambino family, who John Gotti was connected with, also one of the biggest donors to what? The Rockville Center Diocese of the Catholic Church. So this is just, again, an overall, to sit down and map this stuff out and really get into all the details of it, and go deep, detail by detail, of killing by killing, body by body. It's a monumental task, but I think the work needs to be done, because I think some of the people who are involved in the cover-up are still involved in the local police and FBI and all that kind of stuff. The people who need to shine a light on this stuff, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
Right.
They're still protecting all the stuff. But the shocker of this is, again, the Epstein connection to Plaka, Epstein and Trump and Plaka at the same party. You have, and possibly, not the very first United States president to be involved in this stuff, because at that time in the 90s, Trump and Clinton were good friends. We know Clinton was involved with Epstein. It just seems like we are living in a hellscape that nobody wants to talk about, the ultimate evil. And you should
Well,
read.
because people that
And
talk
and
about it end up
RFK
dead,
Jr.
bro. The
And
people that
RFK
shed
Jr. was
light
on some of
end up
Epstein's
dead.
flights as well.
What is this about RFK Jr.?
He was on some of Epstein's flights as well.
Well, yeah, he was on 2 flights to Palm Beach to go heckle Jackie.
Yeah.
If we're going to tie it all back together. No, to Palm Beach with his wife. Now, he said, my wife was, I didn't know any of the details, but she was part of a fundraiser for Epstein at his mansion in Palm Beach. We never went to the island. No, I don't know anything about that. Pretty good, right? Not a
That
bad.
actually was pretty damn.
That was a
accurate,
good Clinton.
actually.
That was a pretty good Clinton impersonation.
No, oh my God.
Anyway, so yeah, it's a really deep thing, but I forget about exactly what the words were, but the chilling last paragraph in The Ultimate Evil talks about this nightmare of. Here you go. Whether you believe in Satan or not, I would say not for me. I don't believe that Satan exists. But the belief in Satan is powerful enough to get people to do these kind of things. Bring out the evil force in human beings, the evil that lives within all of us, the ultimate evil exists.
Well, right. I mean,
I'm just saying, whether you believe in Satan or not.
Right. From my perspective, I think that especially when there's a collective belief, uh like and this kind of goes into we create our own realities and stuff like that. And so you know and that's why the death guy, the pause thing, all that kind of stuff, it's what what you what you think and what you believe becomes what's real to you. You know what I mean? And to your consciousness. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the more belief or faith that you put into whatever it is that you believe, the more real that becomes. And when that belief is a collective belief, it makes it even more real. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
reality is different for everybody, bro. There's 8 billion different realities happening right now.
Well, also, the Ultimate Evil PDF. I wonder if I can pull up the last paragraph and read it from the Ultimate Evil. But the people who run this stuff don't necessarily believe in it, but they use the belief to manipulate people like
Right.
Horman
Right.
and Huerman.
And that's very important to point. Like a lot of people and think about like some of these televangelists and stuff like that don't live anything to what like they really are putting out there or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you could say that but you're really just trying to capitalize on other people's belief. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
that's definitely a thing that occurs as well.
Now, because I've relied so much on Maury Terry's work on saying the things that I think I know about the stuff, it should be said that Maury Terry got a lot of things wrong. Not sloppy journalism. When he interviewed David Berkowitz, Berkowitz wasn't really saying much. Maury Terry would kind of put questions in. Is it true that? Yeah,
leading questions. Yeah.
In court, those would be objections.
Right.
They should be.
Objection, leading.
If you have a smart attorney, they would object. If you have a dumb attorney, they're not going to object.
So a lot of his work has been discredited, but a lot of it can't be discredited because it's absolutely true. I mean, the stuff at Untermeyer Park, we know there were satanic rituals going on there. We know that every sketch from the Son of Sam killings did not look like Berkowitz. They looked like other people. And Berkowitz claimed that he was only the gunman at 2 of these shootings. We know that Michael Carr died mysteriously on the FBI, a couple of FBI agents ran him off the guardrail, and he killed himself in an accident. We know Pete Carr, son of Sam, both of the Carr boys, their father was Sam, who had the barking dog, who lived right behind Berkowitz. We know they lived there. Pete Carr was found with his head, a shotgun blew his head off in Minot, North Dakota, in an army base up there. Again, he was he was known as John Wheaty's raper of young girls. So we know all those connections, and all that stuff can't be disputed. The stuff where Maury Terry is disputed is on the testimony of Berkowitz that they don't rely on and don't believe it's true.
So there's probably a guy dressed in a dog suit going around talking to all these people and talking them into doing this shit, right? That's
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And we know that the Carrs had background in calligraphy. And all the cryptic notes were written in that kind of calligraphy style. So we're pretty sure that Michael Carr was the author of all the Breslin letter and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff can be verified. But so we shouldn't throw out Maury Terry's entire work just because he was really sloppy in his interview with David Berkowitz. I happen to still, even though they were leading questions, I believe Berkowitz was telling the truth when he said that, he wasn't the one. He admitted to being the killer at two of them and said he never wants to get out of prison. He belongs in prison. It doesn't sound like a guy who's trying to kind of soft sell his crime so he could get out. It wasn't any of that. He was finally coming clean.
Right.
What is
Do we want to do news and this day in history before?
Yeah, we could do news. You want to do news, or you want to do this day in history first?
I have both. What do you want?
I know you do. Let's do this day in history first. Okay. Because on this day in history, one of the Gilgo victims was murdered. That's what I want to say. In 1996, I don't know her name. I should have known her name for this. I didn't know we were going to do this day in history. Here it is now. This day.
Today in history.
No, you just remuted yourself. Now you're unmuted. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm doing. Yeah,
all right.
I see. What I figured out is that it mutes me, and I have to unmute myself as soon as it comes up because of the delay.
Right.
So.
By the way, I found a PDF where I can see the last paragraph of Maury Terry's, but it's so small I can't read it, and it's using up all my memory to enlarge the thing because it's the book. The book was like 1,200 pages or something. It was really thick, right. So it's taking all the time to process that. Well,
all right. Anyway, today in history.
Yeah, what happened today in history?
On this day in 2014. The world's first penis transplant procedure is done at Tygerberg Hospital in Cape Town, South Africa. I believe Dave Chappelle was the patient. I'm pretty sure.
Hold on a second.
What?
Penis transplant history.
Yeah.
Why? What? Just to get a bigger one?
I it didn't have a lot of details. I was curious about that myself. But.
All right, let me comment here because in 2004, when I was working in pathology, I got a call, come down to the lab. We need you to document something. And on the tray was the head of a penis, the half of a penis and the head of a penis. And I said, what's with this? He said, well, it had cancer in the head of its penis. We had to cut it off. And the guy was upstairs about to wake up. And I'm doing the work. I'm like, what's going to happen now? I mean, how does he live? Well, he's got a bag. So, but they were talking then about grafting an artificial penis onto him. So I don't think, maybe that's a first successful man-to-man, but
yeah, I wish
the details here. Are they taking it off a corpse, or they taking it off? Like, I'm going to donate my penis to this guy, even because I'm not using it anymore.
Right, and when I die, if there's a big dick motherfucker out there,
or even you don't have to die. Or I'm either going to be a trans person.
Yeah.
Or I'm just too old to use this fucking thing. It ain't fucking doing nothing for me anyway.
I don't really want an old one.
Give me $30,000. You can have mine.
All right.
All right.
I wonder what they go for on the black market. Anyway,
30 grand. That's the price.
First
Is
of
that
all,
what
black
it is?
the black market. Why you got to be? Why do they have? Why can't you just sell it on any other market? Why does it got to be a black
I
market?
don't
always
think you
gotta
can sell
come
your
back to
penis on
race with you.
Marketplace.
No,
I've
no.
tried.
Willie's
It's
the
called
one who started. No,
prostitution.
Willie started that. Okay, Willie's the one who brought up the black market.
Yeah, he invented the term black market just now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sure
he
I
did.
I'm
He
sure I
did. Racist.
Willie, how
all right.
dare you?
Yeah,
You
I'm
racist.
very
Fuck
racist.
you.
That's true.
Where's the hood? Where's
Moving
Willie's
on,
hood?
and today in history.
Also on this day in 13, I got some really gay news today. I don't know why. Also on this day in 1395, John Eleanor Reichner, a male cross-dressing prostitute, is brought to court in London, and this is in quotations, for committing that detestable, unmentionable, and ignominious vice. It was the only late medieval England. It was late medieval England's only recorded case on same-sex intercourse, and the jury is still out, and so am I. All right, anyway.
Wait a minute. This was 1395?
1395, yes.
Cross-dressing prostitute
Cross-dressing prostitute, John
in
Eleanor
1395.
Are you sure they went on their way to a Shakespearean play? When when
Right.
was Shakespeare? No,
Right,
Shakespeare
yeah,
was-
they all cross-dress, yeah, exactly. I think they were just, I think somebody enjoyed the sex a little too much, and they were like, I gotta fucking get rid of this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
All right,
back then women weren't allowed to be actors. So how do we know it just
Right.
wasn't a guy who was playing a role? That's sad.
Also,
That's so sad.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh
The-
my god! Did
the
you just see Craig Johnson's comment here? Oh my god! You got to put that.
What happened? What?
Craig Johnson,
I can't.
penis, 1958 model, high mileage, slightly tinted, 1500 or best offer. I'm dying. That's
I think I
fucking
might have to
funny.
go on Craigslist and put that in the for sale.
Yeah, hey, yeah, that's the.
But
Oh,
I'm thinking about this cross-dressing in 1395. I mean, because well, 1395 isn't it? In the 1600s and 1700s in this country, men wore high heels, makeup, and wigs. So how would you even tell what cross-dressing was at that point?
Listen, I don't think the cross dressing was the issue. I think
No,
you guys
the
are
issue
focusing.
depends. Back then,
No, but the fact that they called them cross-dressing in 1395 is just like weird. Because how would you even
Well, I
identify?
think
if your hanky was in the left,
verbiage.
okay, it depends if your hanky's in the left or if your hanky's in the right. That's because that's how they carry their hankies. So that's how you can tell if they're cross-dressing, where they had their hankies.
You are a very educated man about these things. You are our leading expert in 13 or 12th century, 14th century, whatever
14th
century it was.
yeah.
Well,
Alright.
you learn
Shall I
a
continue?
thing or
Can I
two.
continue?
You learn a thing or
Is
two.
that all right?
You learn
All
a
right.
thing or two as a stripper.
We still have more
Jesus Christ.
this day
All
in
right.
history to go, right?
One more on this day in history, and then we got the news. All right. On this day in 1958, Frank Ferrana Jr. is born in San Jose, California. You may know him better as Motley Crue's Nikki Sixx. Happy birthday to Nikki Sixx, 65 today. All right.
I didn't know them as either name.
No. You don't know who
Sorry.
Nikki Sixx is? Come on.
No, I honestly, until just now, I have no idea what a Mickey Six is until just now.
Nikki Sixx was the lead singer of Motley Crue, bro.
I'm glad you told me that. I did not know until just now.
All right. No,
I didn't even know they had a lead singer. I just thought those. I just assumed they had singers. I don't know. I don't know anything about Motley Crue. I think they have 2 dots over the E in Motley. Or is it over the O?
So is that this day in history? Are we wrapping it
Yes,
up?
that's this day in history.
I'm not playing the music.
Okay, all right.
On the way up.
So
Wait,
this is news.
No, it's not news yet.
No?
No.
Music.
What are we doing then?
Because I have to play the music for the news. But before, I wanted to read the very last
okay. I didn't know.
paragraph
Yes.
from The Ultimate Evil. It says, Manson, here she is. She's in the
Not
background.
Sarah, but the other
not
one.
Sarah, no. Charles. Manson challenged the Los Angeles courtroom when the 1970s began. You say there are just a few. There are many, many more coming in the same direction. They are running in the streets, and they are coming right at you in New York. Berkowitz would write, "There are other sons out there, sons of Sam. God help the world. Sometimes late at night, one can know the truth of their words. Through the darkness, a foreboding wail can be heard, faintly at first, then more insistent and nearer. The reverberations ring through urban canyons, roll across the shadowed byways of Scarsdale and Bel Air, and they are carried in the night wind to the remote reaches of the rural countrysides. It is a mournful, curdling cry. It is the sound of America screaming." That's how it details all that stuff, and it will scare the shit out of you. The ultimate evil is where this history begins. It's not where it ends. It ends with Matt Nappo getting a bullet to the back of his head while he's doing a live podcast.
Right. It might be. It might.
All right, let's do the news really quickly. Let me play.
It's only two. I only got two stories.
Okay.
But I do have.
Cut Willie right off in the middle of this. But I do have to. No, you don't have to. I got to get your images ready anyway. So.
All right. Tyreek Hill has gifted 76 Segway scooters to his Miami Dolphin teammates. The kind gesture is actually a low-key attempt to help some of the players in their post-NFL careers as mall cops. This story is from earth.com, and I really encourage people to go and look up this story because I'm only going to just brush the top of it. But you got the picture? Where's the
Which
picture?
one? I got two pictures here.
Either one of them. You can put them both up for all I care. So
this North Dakota, South Dakota?
No, you know what? I did not find the location of it, but this is Steve, an aura first identified in 2018 as distinct than from the more familiar auras we know of, such as the Northern Lights. Claire Gasquet is a promising graduate student in the physics department of the University of California, Berkeley, and has proposed intriguing explanations of these phenomena, one that suggests a physical mechanism vastly different than what's responsible for traditional auras. But the reason I brought this story up is because the Berkeley physics department is a lot of what is doing the surf research at that Sanford Underground Research Facility.
Right.
And they have a dark matter collector down there. And what this lady is wanting to do is they want to put rockets into these auras and see what happens. They want to shoot rockets into the auras and see what happens. I'm pretty sure that this, we're basically on the verge of this is probably going to end up being some portal shit.
So before or after the satanic cults and Catholic Church have me taken out?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's the world's going bananas.
Did you see the thing about the black hole in the sun that just appeared and they're freaking out about that?
I saw that.
It's supposed to cause stuff like you just showed there, those aura thing.
It's bro.
Anyway, it's time to meet our guest today. Our guest today is Sarah Manson. She is a comedian working in the Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where dark matter is a definite problem for Willie at the moment. Willie has described her as the most stylish comedian working today. Let's meet Sarah Manson. Sarah, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. How does it feel to be the most stylish comedian working today?
It feels incredible. I don't think it's that hard, but
that's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I think Willie. I thought Willie was the most stylish until today, so that's a major upgrade, I guess.
Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. South Dakota. Now, first of all, let's go back. Is Manson your given name? You were born.
No, Manson is a stage name.
Okay. See, we were debating because whether that was a thing. Does it bring you the kind of attention? Does it help with your career, Manson? Because it has a darkness to it.
It does. So here's the reason I'm called Sarah Manson, and it started when I was 16. So when I had my parents' given name, it was a very complicated and weird name. And I used to student teach fourth graders in high school, and every day I wore a Marilyn Manson shirt, and they couldn't pronounce my name. So after I was teaching these little kids, they just started calling me Miss Manson, and that stuck with me since I was a teenager. And I've been married a couple times and had a lot of different last names, but Sarah Manson stuck with me since then. So
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool.
All right, cool.
story.
Yeah, that's a story. Now, when people come to see you do comedy, are they expecting darkness? Are they expecting a Marilyn Manson type of comedy?
I don't think so, but I can give it to them if that's what they want.
Oh, really? You can go dark?
I can, yeah. I've definitely worn a lot of goth outfits to do comedy. I do a lot of things with bats, like bat outfits and things like that. I was in a play last year where I was a bat, and so I've actually got a group of friends. I've got like the craziest story for you guys that happened yesterday. So
please.
I was out with the bats, right? We do bat brunch because all of us were bats in this play, and we go to Hoo Hot, and we go to sit down, and my friend, she sits down in this chair, and it's like a chair with a wooden top and then a frame. She goes to scooch in with it, catches her finger under the top of the chair, and rips her fingertip off. Like, she sleeved it. Like, they call it sleeving. It ripped down to the bone and ripped her fingertip off. It was spurting blood like a horror movie, all over me, all over everybody at the table. And then she we had to find her fingertip on the floor, and she like rushed off to the hospital to get it reattached. Like, this is what happens around me.
Wow. So it's time for a fingertip transplant.
Yeah.
Maybe send it to South Africa, or wrap it in plastic and dump it on a Long Island beach somewhere, which is very ugly.
She tried to reattach it, but it didn't go great. I hope she gets like $1 million from Hoo Hot.
Wow,
they
$1 million?
To put it back on?
She lost her fingernail and part of her finger. So
ouchie.
Wow.
Which one? Can she still drive? I mean, can she still drive? Which finger is it?
It's her ring finger on her left hand.
Okay, so she still can do traffic then. She can.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine with that.
Yeah, okay.
And now she's got this huge cast on her finger that looks like she's flipping you off permanently. Because it's
Nah, I'm sorry to laugh at her pain. If she's listening right now, I'm really sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I totally, like, as soon as she messaged me, she was like, "Oh, I'm going into surgery," and they were like, and I said, "Oh, well, needless to say, they didn't get a tip at the restaurant."
They did.
Yeah.
No,
they couldn't keep it.
They tried to reattach it. They took it with it.
Yeah. So I've been writing the comedy bit to go with that all day today. So.
Oh my God. Is she married?
Yes.
Oh, so I was going to say it would be really awkward putting a ring on that finger at that point.
Yeah. Probably like, switch hands because you don't want to draw attention to it.
Here's your stub.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. But do you think $1 million is? I think it's far more than that. I think she should get more than that for sure. Right. Lawsuits these days, I mean, they're bizarre numbers for less than that. So yeah, good. It's good for her. Her financial future is set because we know there's no money in comedy. Is she a comedian? No.
No, she's not. She's an actress. So
an actress in Murder Mystery. Like, what is the bat like a theatrical play? Is it like a?
It was a Christmas play.
What?
The Bat Before Christmas.
Kind of. It was a spoof play about, it was a guy trying to read The Night Before Christmas, but he kept saying instead of certain things, he'd say bats, and then we were bats and we were chaos bats, and we'd come running in. The best part was I got to spear this little girl, like wrestling spear her. Yeah, it was great.
What? Like Brock Lesnar or whatever.
Yeah, exactly like Brock Lesnar. They were like, okay, so somebody needs to like attack this little girl as a bat, and I was like, I took this role solely so I could attack children. So
just so you can spear a child.
That's why I took the role.
Wow.
I take my glasses off. Really
I have a dinner theater question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. As a
$39.95.
As a performer.
Yeah.
What do you think is the worst food for people to eat while they're watching dinner theater?
Oh, it'd be like a bloody steak or something like that, like anything that would look like blood.
Okay, because I wasn't sure because I was thinking like anything crunchy because then you couldn't hear like the dialogue. Is that
Oh.
so? I was just wondering what you thought because I've never done dinner theater. I aspire to it because of Matt. He's wanted me to, but he's a great dinner theater actor. But so I was just wondering what you thought.
Some of my fun dinner theater. Okay, so when we're seated actors, we have to, we're supposed to pretend to be somebody else, right? So we have to infiltrate the groups of people, and we have to make them think we're just a patron. So in that situation, like we got, sometimes our friends will come and they can have like cheaper tickets because they're friends and family. And so one of my friends came and they seated her at the same table as me, but we were supposed to pretend like we didn't know each other. So we had like cheesecake at the end with like raspberries and all this fruit on top of it. Mm-hmm. And I was the murderer. So I had to get more and more suspicious throughout the night. And by the end, we're just sitting there at this, this table with like 10 people with us at it. And I'm supposed to get weirder. So I just started a food fight with her. I started flinging like the fruit from my cheesecake at her across the table. And it's real fancy. So everybody at this whole thing was like, oh my God, what is happening? And then she got into it. She started throwing it back at me. And then there were these really annoying people at the next table. And they were like, they saw us doing it. And so I threw something at them and they started
at the patrons, like paying customers.
Yeah, the paying customers. Awesome. And we started a food fight and it was great. So I'd say thumbs up on anything like that I can start a food fight with as an actor.
So thumbs up on projectile food.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the projectile foods that don't make a huge mess for the staff to clean up afterwards.
Now, there's a couple of things you said that are interesting to me. First of all, that you're the murderer. Is that you always play the murderer, or have you played different parts?
No, I play lots of different roles. We all do, but I tend to be the murderer the most, and I love that role because I like to. It's one of the hardest because you're a solo actor, so you show up at a thing by yourself, which is suspicious to everyone right away. Why is this person going to a thing alone? So it's a suspicious role, but then you're there the longest. You don't die, so you make it all the way to the end, and you have to get crazier and crazier. And then at the end, you have a huge thing where you're revealed, and you have to throw a huge fit, and the police come, and you have to have a meltdown and get arrested.
Because the one that I've been involved with, you don't want the audience to figure it out. It's a mystery. You want them to kind of vote. That what they do is they take a vote on it at the end, and whoever gets it, I guess they give prizes to and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so you want to make it obvious. You say start to act more and more suspicious. You want to make it obvious to the audience.
Right. So, it's like a 3-hour thing. So, it's slow and they get clues throughout the night. So then the people that seem the most suspicious start dying. So then the people that they think it is all of a sudden are dead. And then they're like, oh my God, who is it? So then it gets, but at the very end of it, right before the big reveal, I have to get more and more suspicious so that they figure out it's me.
Interesting. Mine, only one person dies, and then they have to figure out who the murderer is at the end.
Oh, ours are three people die throughout ours.
Have you ever had to be a dyer?
I do often. Yes. Yeah. I do often get murdered. Yes. I've got one coming up here in a few weeks, and I have this huge monologue I'm trying to memorize for it. But yeah, I do die often. And
I'm pretty good at dying on stage. I should get involved in these things.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're a natural.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see him die. So
yeah, that's
that too. That too. Thank you. Yeah, that's right.
Now, Willie does a thing called slow death. Because the one I'm involved with, the woman who ends up, I shouldn't even say the woman, and nobody who listens. If you ever go to my murder mystery, just forget everything I just said. The person who dies takes a long time to die, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm going like, "Oh, come on, die already!" I mean, are you a slow dyer, or you take?
I take an appropriate amount of time to die.
Appropriate amount.
Yeah.
Now, when you die, do you have a pause, or that you just?
It's an imperceptible pause.
She doesn't know the reference, bro. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's an imperceptible pause, by the way.
The complicated part is as you know, we have to make them, you know, way over the top, you know, really over the top and theatrical, but we're also supposed to do callbacks to audience members during our death. So you have to be very observant throughout the whole course of the evening. And then, you know, when you're dying, you have to be like, oh my God, I'm dying. Oh my God, did you like this food? Or, you know, you have to say stuff like very, like you have to walk around to specific people and be funny with it.
So, like, if I were dying, I would say something like, oh, Sarah, I remember seeing you at the caves of the mountains of National Natural Landmark. And you would go, yeah, I was there. What year?
No, that wouldn't be very funny. No, it's not.
This is what he specializes in, not being very funny.
I don't know anything about comedy. So
yeah.
Okay.
No, and it's an adult show, so I mean, there's a lot of like funny sexual things that like the names people pick. We encourage them to come up with funny, like, you know, goofy sexual. So you'd give a call back to somebody who got up and said something about, you know, banging rock stars or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, I love, you know, and especially when you're the last murderer to die, you'd be like, oh my God, I loved him more than Bill loves riding horses, or I loved him more than this lady loves tequila, because they're all drunk, you know.
Wow, an adult, because kids have been at the ones that I've been in.
Oh no, no children allowed at ours.
No children allowed at all. This is interesting. Now, do you do it in nightclubs and things like that, or is it privately contracted? What, like somebody will hire you to do their party, their 60th birthday party, or something crazy like that?
Both. We do shows at like a big banquet room in the Sheraton here that are public shows that people can buy tickets to, but we do private shows a lot.
Wow.
And I just, the last few, I love to travel and do the private shows, but the last few have been weird. We just did one at a casino where it was like in the restaurant, but in the middle of the casino restaurant. So there was like lottery machines everywhere, and it was so weird. And that was for school. And then the one before that we did at a daycare. So it was like, it was for the staff, but all the tables were really low, right? Like
right.
Kindergarten school tables.
Stuff. That's all.
Oh,
it was so weird because we walked in and we were setting up before the, like, you know, before anyone was there, it was locked. And so the lady goes, well, do you need the like staff restrooms, or can you just use the like regular open ones? And I'm like, well, do they have full-size toilets? And she's like, yeah. I go, no, then we're fine. And then they leave and we go in and there's toilets, but no doors on any of the stalls. It's just a line of toilets.
Oh, that would not work for me. I would have to leave immediately.
Like, what?
You know, coming back to the other night, the two girls.
But there were cameras, right? There were no doors, but there were cameras.
Yeah, right. No, hopefully not for the children.
The girl and her newly transitioned girl both did go to the ladies' room the other night. We both noticed that from where we were playing, and I was just thinking, like, what is, because she hasn't had her surgery, so she's going into a ladies' room with the dick, and like it's just like, what do? You lock the door and tell people don't come? I mean, it's still a very touchy type of thing, like, because it's one thing to see two girls walking into the ladies' room, but when one of them pulls the dick out, it's like offsetting to anybody else. Another woman in there might be petrified by that.
How would you know if they go into a stall? And
right, it's the ladies' room, so there's no urinals. So she would be in a private place when she did it. So it would be very weird if someone saw that.
Unless they didn't have doors.
Unless they didn't have doors
on the stall, that might be.
You know, if somebody's standing up, you see.
Bathrooms are getting more and more fluid. Really, I mean, like I saw this over the weekend, and I don't even remember what place I was at. But I saw like a dude go into what was like the ladies' bathroom, but he went in there with another lady. I just figured they were going to fuck.
It was Jerry Irby, right?
Like I figured that's what was going to happen, huh?
It was Jerry Irby.
No, it definitely wasn't Jerry.
Well, Jerry, he said he uses the ladies' room all the time. That's when he was on the show.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I could see him doing that just to be. Jerry would probably do that just to see if somebody's going to say something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The thing
I'm
is,
sorry to derail the conversation.
I'm
Just
saying,
the idea of stalls without a door on it reminded me of the other night in my.
I think as a plumber, Jerry's allowed to go in any bathroom ever, anytime he
That's
wants.
probably true.
I think he
Ah.
gets a free pass.
now,
So, just for reference out there, if you want to be a pervert, get yourself a plumber's license.
Yes.
and see, I don't understand what the big deal is about, quote, the gender fluid bathrooms, because having been a concert goer back in the 70s and 80s,
Right.
women's restrooms were always the lines were always so long for the ladies' restrooms that they were often using the men's restrooms. They just had one of their friends stand guard outside the stall.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So I don't understand where all this craziness is coming from now.
It's come from the unacknowledged truth that all men are fucking perverts and can't be trusted, and if they have their dick out, they're dangerous.
But that's been always.
I
Why
know.
is it? Yeah, that's why women developed the buddy system. I mean,
I know. But that's why the people who make the biggest noise about it are the people who know that if I had my dick out and there was a girl in there, I would probably make sure she saw it. The perverts are the ones yapping the loudest about it.
Okay, so Sarah, speaking of Willie, how long have you known
What
him?
the fuck? What the fuck? All right, then.
How long have you known Willie?
I just want to say for the record, Willie is not a pervert. Continue.
Oh,
I'm a pervert.
Okay, I will get back to that later. I'm
Sure.
sorry, Sarah.
I've been doing comedy about 9 months now, so I'd say 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, hey,
How long you been doing dinner theater?
That's one of the things about her but she's also done quite a bit of other performing.
Oh yeah.
Before she started doing comedy.
No, I was gonna say you probably have a background in improv, right?
Yeah, she hit the road running, bro. I mean, like this, and she's on fire. She's very active. She's always out there doing stuff. Like she's hosting shows every week, pretty much.
I have 12 shows this month.
Yeah,
wow.
You know, I mean, she's hard after it, and she's really good at what she does.
So the question becomes: is now that you've branched out into comedy from acting, and is because I talk about this with Willie all the time, it really behooves you to kind of focus on one or the other, career wise. Where is your main thrust of your energy going to?
Comedy, for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Now is that was that a revelation to you? Is it something you expected in life? Is this a surprise to you that?
It's a surprise. I've always my whole life thought I was going to do something very important and be famous, and be on stage. But I always thought it would be as a musician, and that just didn't really work out for me. And I don't know why I never really hit it hard, but I took piano for 10, 20 years when I was growing up, and I always thought I'd be the lead singer of a rock and roll band, but I never did it. And then I've really always been a performer. So I started doing acting about a year ago. And then, I mean, I've really been involved in music around here in the local scene, managing bands, booking bands, doing all that kind of I've worked security for concerts and venues and all that stuff. That's my other job is I take care of rock stars. I do artist hospitality.
Wow.
So I take care of them, but I always thought I should be on the stage. So I started with acting and I loved it, but acting kind of takes like a break in the winter for a while there. They don't really do a lot. And I thought, my friend said, hey, maybe you should try comedy. There's these open mics, go check it out. And I started doing comedy, and now I don't really do much theater anymore. I do mostly comedy, and I love it. And I know people keep going, when are you going to try out for this? When are you going to try out for that? And I really wanted to be in hair. Hair's coming up here soon, but being in theater is a huge commitment because it's rehearsal 3 nights a week. And then when you get into it, it's, 5 nights a week. And I've got so many comedy shows coming up. I can't commit to those rehearsals.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Like putting it pays to put your energy into one, because you just hit on it. Absolutely correct. You don't have the time to do everything well. You can't do everything well. So I know Willie is divided between music and comedy right now, but I think the best way, if you have diverse interests is to put your energy into one, make it in that, and then branch out once you've established yourself, whatever that means to people as a success in one area. But so there's pros and cons to all this stuff. Now, music, it baffles me. You say I want to be a lead singer in a band. The complexities, and this is where I look at stuff in Kismet and people who have made it in bands. The odds of you finding people who are going to click with you and bring your brand of music together as a 4-piece, 5-piece, whatever, to find everybody who's going to be on the same page to make it a success, like the Beatles. The odds of those 4 people finding each other is so minuscule. But in comedy, you are the master of your own destiny. It's just you, but you're competing with a billion other yous out there who want to make it. So there's pros and cons to all this kind of stuff, and where you put your acting is pretty much the same as music. You got to, first of all, be cast in the right role that's right for you. You have to be dependent on other people delivering their performance that will support you and highlight you. So it's all, but they all have different catch-22s or different obstacles and challenges to make it to finding the spotlight and finding your comfort zone where you're most productive.
Well, even if you're like a successful serial killer, I understand what you're saying. You need to have the right kind of victims, but you need to have the right kind of friends to help you cover it up, the right kind of wife or husband. So I understand what you're saying.
Is that what you do?
Me? I'm not successful. I have failed at like multiple careers right now.
Interesting.
Here's the thing. Here's the difference in the thing about theater versus comedy. First of all, and when I'm doing theater, I definitely think I find it more stressful than comedy because you do count on everyone else to give a line so you can go, and also you have the pressure of having to deliver every one of your lines so everyone else can keep going. Like that's very stressful. In comedy, it's you, and if you bomb, it's only you. You don't have to worry about everybody else, and that's a relief to me that I don't have to, and everyone else isn't counting on me.
Right.
But if you're the host, quite often the headliner will go like, the audience would have been a lot better if you were a better host. You didn't warm them up for me.
Well, I'm not opening for those assholes.
I'm just saying sometimes the feature and the headliner are just bad, but they don't want to say it was them. It's just like it's the host or the hostess or the.
I'm going to swap you two so I can cover up GD with this a little bit. So it just says please share, like, and comment and all that kind of stuff.
Why are you shaking your goodies?
Because it's covering it up. I just wanted to have, that's all.
But something one of my friends told me that was really important to me was thinking about theater versus comedy, and they said, you know what? Theater is telling someone else's story, and comedy is telling your own.
Right.
Unless you're Minaj, what's his name? Hanaj Manatwa. What's his name? Hanaj. That guy.
We're going to say goodbye to GD right now. So long.
The guy from the Daily Show. That
Minaj. Hassan Minaj.
Yeah, unless you're him.
Yeah. No, it's not the same thing. Basically, when you get a laugh in theater, it can't be the same as getting as gratifying as getting a laugh in stand-up comedy, telling your own truth, as opposed to a line that somebody else has written down. Even if you get a great laugh and the audience just totally responds to that, it's not necessarily your humor that they're laughing at, even though it's part of your delivery and all that stuff. It's somebody else's work.
I still think it is gratifying because you're convincing those people that it is you, and that's hard. Right. It's hard to convince people that you are that character. And in a play I played a character that I had this huge monologue about. It was written about a much older lady, and she had been out with Leonard Nimoy, seeing Leonard Nimoy on tour in like the 70s and 60s and stuff. And I give this big monologue about it, and I did a really great job. And then these people would come up after me and start telling me about Leonard Nimoy and how they'd seen him and how great he was, and that like it was me. And I would be like, okay, I've never seen Leonard Nimoy. I don't know anything about him, but the fact that I convinced them and they really believed that was my story, that felt really good.
You know, Willie did that on purpose. Willie popped out and came back in so he could have the please like and share comment.
Yeah.
That's so rude. Okay.
He wanted the banner.
Yeah, he wanted the banner. So he's like, I'm popping out. No.
Fuck him. Fuck him. I got him back. Ow. Wait, maybe it should be me, right? There you go.
Now I feel like we're doing a Brady Bunch thing here, like Hollywood Squares. Do you ever do Hollywood Squares?
Something you said there kind of surprised me. You said Hair was coming. Now, Hair was a musical. I was 7 or 8 years old when that was on Broadway, and it was the biggest thing. The message from that play, it's definitely not the same now as it was then. I mean, it was all about the hippie movement and long hair kind of being a symbol of a new freedom and all that kind of stuff. So is the play still relevant today?
I think so. So here's the thing about Hair. Hair, if you know the song Hair, it was by the Cowsills.
Right. Give me it down to there.
Yeah. Hair was a Cowsill song. And my mom was legit a Cowsills groupie back in the day. Like my mom lost her virginity to a Cowsill. So
oh my God.
That song is that musical is very relevant to me because I grew up listening to the Cowsills like every day. So that song, when it's like Hair, my mom goes, oh my God, you're going to be in that, right? And they were scouting me for it because I have a lot of tattoos. And they were like, we're looking for people with, body art because there's a lot of nudity in it. And I was like, I have to be in Hair. My mom's like, do I need
the nudity? Yeah.
She's like, do I need the Cowsills to write you a letter?
I was just looking up
contact with them. What?
Wow.
A stepbrother or anything with them? Or what's going on?
I was just looking up Cowsill songs because I knew about Hair, but then I couldn't remember any of their other songs.
The Rain in the Park and other things. Flowers in her hair.
I love the Flower Girl. Yeah. But the one that surprised me is Love American Style. The theme for, and Willie's too young to know this. Love American Style, the show, they sang the theme for that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I love the Flower Girl.
I like to say they were the White Jackson 5.
No, that was the Osmond Brothers.
Oh, okay. Well, there's more of the Cowsills, though. There's like 5 of the Cowsills, and there's only a couple Osmonds. So the Cowsills were a family of brothers and one sister, and they had their parents took them on tour, and they traveled.
Walk Away, Renee. I thought that was somebody else. Maybe they covered it.
They probably covered it. Yeah.
Wow, very very weird. But Treat Williams, who starred in that play, just died recently, not too long ago. And I think he was a teenager in 1968 when that was the most popular play in the world. So he wasn't that old when he passed. Anyway, just a surprise to me that Hair is back around. Now, South Dakota, do you have strong roots there, or because as a comedian, and I kind of say this to Willie too much, but there's only so much opportunity in South Dakota. Eventually you have to kind of take your act on the road a little bit from there, or can you make a sustainable life in comedy in South Dakota?
Well, I've grown up here and I love to travel. I travel about once a month. I get out of here and go somewhere else. So I travel a lot, and I love to live here though. Like, this is home for me. I was born here and I like it here. So I do find enough opportunity here. And the thing is, I have like friends that live in LA that I go visit quite often, and I go see comedy there and stuff. And the thing is, there's too many people in bigger cities like that. Here, I find that the opportunity is limitless for me. I mean, I travel all over doing comedy around here, and it's great. I mean, I can go to Omaha and Minneapolis, and if I want, I can book a little tour and travel further and further out of the Midwest. But here in Sioux Falls, our comedy community is the biggest in South Dakota, obviously. But also, here I'm a big fish in a small pond here. I don't.
No, I get it. But like here, when I say local people who make it here, there's no local can mean like 350 miles in any direction, really. Yeah. But they still can make a sustainable life working 4 or 5 nights a week, basically, of paying gigs, in this area without being ever on the national stage and national headliners and all that kind of stuff. So that's possible in Sioux Falls. I mean, within 300 miles, where's the best destination in any direction?
I mean, here I go to Minneapolis fairly often. That's probably, the biggest local place around here for music and everything else. And I'm there so often for concerts and things that I'd say Minneapolis. But like when I go to Omaha and go to an open mic, there's 40 people in an open mic in Omaha. That's
Wow.
insane. They have to have 2 shifts. It's like, it's cutthroat there. And I wouldn't want to live in Omaha and be a comedian.
I should have a map up when we do the show, because I'm thinking Omaha and South Dakota are like 2 separate worlds. I got to look
it's
at.
like what, an hour and a no. How far is Omaha? Like
Omaha's like 3.5 hours, 3 hours.
Under 4, yeah.
Wow. So both of you guys should make friends with Jeremy Peterson, who produces a lot of shows in
I mean, I was supposed
Omaha.
to do a show with him over the summer, and then something happened with his venue. He canceled it, and we never rescheduled. But
maybe he saw your act.
He watched the show.
Yeah. Oh, something happened with the venue. You suck. That's what happened. I'm sorry. I didn't. That's very mean of me. I should not even say stuff like that.
I just saw Ryan O'Flanagan. He's a big LA comic, and he came to Sioux Falls and did a show at quite a small venue. And he said, yeah, I had a show booked in Omaha, and they canceled it at the last minute. I had it booked for months. And he was like, I was desperate to find a gig to replace that. That's why I'm at this little bar in Sioux Falls. But he said, so I looked it up and to see what could possibly have been better than my show in Omaha. And he said it was a karaoke night. He said they dropped my show for a karaoke night.
Wow.
That happened to a friend of mine who went to Texas. He was booked in Texas, Austin, which has like 1,900 places to do comedy, I think.
Right.
But most of them are Rogan places. But same thing, he got bumped. Fortunately, before he flew out.
Oh, nice.
But only weeks before he flew out.
That's Ron Kane, right? No.
Well, it was Ron Kane and someone else. It was Josh DeWay.
Okay.
But Ron Kane was affiliated with that.
So I'm glad we just embarrassed Ron by bringing him up. I did anyway. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention any names. If I wasn't going to mention any names, I was just going to clarify it. But that's okay.
I'm terrible that way. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you're much worse. Yeah.
Well, I hope if anybody's listening, the next GD show, you should go to bark at all his jokes and yell out mine.
If you're not too busy laughing, yeah.
If there's any people there.
If I give you, unlike Willie, I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm just going to be crowd work. All I do is crowd work.
Obviously, you don't know anything about comedy. So.
I have no idea what to do with comedy. None. And the weirdest thing is my. I don't want to mention my stepson by name, so I won't mention Nate by name because he's embarrassed. Yeah, but he gave me this, and I'm like, he doesn't know anything about comedy either.
Obviously, he gave you that.
Yeah, he gave me this. I'm like, yeah, what am I supposed to do with this?
He stole that from David Tell.
Obviously, or maybe he stole it from what's his name? That other guy,
Menage a Trois,
Segura.
Oh, Tom Segura.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Sarah. So now you on your internet presence. I wasn't sure where I should point people to find out more about you. Instagram page? Do you have a website?
I do the most on Facebook, Sarah Manson Comedy on Facebook, but you can also find me on Instagram at Sarah Manson Comedy.
Okay, I will put
those are my 2 main websites.
Yeah, because are you familiar with there's a English comedian, Sarah Manson, as well?
Mason.
No.
When I was Googling you, I was like, I came up with Sarah Manson, and I was like, that's not the Sarah Manson whose picture I just put up for Monday's show.
That's Sarah Mason. It preempts it. It's MESON.
Oh well, I came up in the Google search.
It does, but it's Mason, Sarah Mason.
Okay, so ignore what I just said then.
Yeah, totally ignore it.
Forget
and
everything.
Ignore the fact that I was right and he was wrong. Don't even think about that.
And it's the first time for everything.
Don't even.
Yeah. So we should send them to Facebook for to find out where you will be in the events that you have coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, I do all kinds of updates on there. Like I say, I've got like 11 shows this month coming up.
Left in December. That's a lot because we only have half a month left. So good for you. I mean,
But she's also a Larry Brinkman award winner, so she will be in the
Damn.
Comic of the Year competition on
Wow,
January.
wait, now that to me that's kind of impressive. You've been doing comedy for 9 months and you won a Larry Brinkman, who was that guy, Larry Brinkman.
Now, in
I
fact,
also opened for Ben Bailey from Cash Cab. So that
very
was
cool. Was
How
that
was that
recently?
show? Was that a lot of
Yeah,
fun?
it had
it
to be
was. It wasn't
recently.
long ago. It was amazing. Oh my god! It was. Okay. So we have just a few, big theaters in this town that I had bucket list theaters to perform on. Stages that I wanted to do, and I started doing them in theater, and then I wanted to do the Orpheum Theater was my big dog theater I wanted to do, and I got to open for Ben Bailey doing comedy on that stage instead of theater, which was it was so amazing. Ben Bailey was wonderful.
Very cool. And you got to meet him and hang out with him a little bit and know him.
Oh yeah, he was a class act. He took us all out to a very fancy restaurant afterwards.
Who had to pay for the cab?
Yeah. Actually, he was going to ride with me, and then his opener was like, "No, I want to walk," and he was like, "No, I want to ride with her."
Wow.
Right? I bet he did.
Yeah, he did.
Did you get a celebrity dick pic from Ben Bailey? That'd be fabulous.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. In the works, though, possibly.
I'm just looking up because it's time to say goodbye to Govs. I'm just looking up who's at Govs this weekend. December 14th, General Hospital, Stone Cold, and the Jackal Holiday. Victor Beto is there this weekend, the 16th and 17th. That's Dibitetto. I always say Dibitetto. Vic Dibitetto is there at Governor's this week. Anyway, it's time to say goodbye to Govs. Govs, thanks for being here. Sorry to bore you with the cereal stuff, but book Sarah Manson for all the Governor's comedy clubs, and